This is 3 tips that's gonna help you change your life. And make sure you watch the video to the end because I'm telling you, number 3 is a game changer. It's what changed my life and it's what's gonna help you change yours, so let's get to it. These helped me change my life and I'm just a normal person just like you. So we're gonna get straight into tip number 1. And tip number 1 is don't be afraid of change. Most people have gotten really complacent and really comfortable in the life that they're living now, the same job, the same everything, that they're afraid of change. Change sometimes is inevitable, and change is what can get you into that new position, that new spot, or the new area of life that you want. There's an old saying that if you keep doing the same thing over and over but expecting a different outcome, it's a sign of insanity. And this is what most people do. Most people want to change. They want to make more money. They want to be a better person. They want better health. They want to make better decisions. They want to do a lot of things, but they don't do anything to change it. So change is good. Don't be afraid of change. So I'm gonna tell you about me and change that I made just to give you a good idea. So I worked at a steel mill from the age of 19 to age 35. And I hated that job. I worked myself up to the top. I was making almost $100,000 a year and I ran heavy equipment. It was super hot. I was breathing in lead dust because it is a steel mill. And so I knew I was destroying my body. It got to the point where when I woke up, I was like, oh God, I don't want to go to work. I hated going to work. And it got to where I hated my job, but I made decent money. I had good insurance. And I was comfortable. I mean, I had a family, so I had to work. And that is a position that a lot of people get in, is they feel comfortable where they're at, so they don't want to change. But it got so bad on my mental health that I couldn't take any more. So I had to do stuff on the side to make extra money. So I started cleaning out houses, fixing floors and handrails and stuff on houses, which I really enjoyed. It was something different every day. I was making side income, but now I was at a point to where all my time was consumed by work. My financial situation got better, but I didn't have any time with my family, and I really disliked my job. So one day I just quit. I turned all my stuff in. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I quit. And then something clicked in my mind. I'm like, oh shit, I have a family that I have to take care of. So I really, really have to bust my butt now. And I have no choice but to succeed. And I'm telling you, when that switch flipped in my head and I knew I had no choice but to succeed, man, I put it in third gear. I busted my butt, and honestly, it was one of the best decisions that I ever made. I was able to finally start taking vacations. I was able to start landing good jobs. I was making good money. I was making decisions for myself. I didn't miss any of my kids' sports games and stuff. So all around, the change was tough. So I had to flip that switch in my mind. And I had to make that change, but when I did, it's one of the best decisions I ever made. But don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy. You have to put in the effort when you decide to make that change. Not being afraid of change was the first step. And that can be your first step, is don't be afraid to change. Venture out and try something different and see how it feels and see if it's right for you. All right, so now tip number 2. Tip number 2 is don't be afraid to sacrifice for what you want. This is another term that a lot of people don't like to do. They want to be able to just sit back and have people hand them everything that they want, and it doesn't work that way. You have to be willing to sacrifice to get what you want. Flip that switch. Sometimes you have to work late hours. Sometimes you have to do the jobs that you don't like doing. I mean, it's not easy. Sometimes it gets hard, but the reward outweighs the risk every single time, because when you're doing stuff for yourself, you have to problem solve. You have to make the decisions. But just know that you are capable of doing this. I mean, I'm sure most of you do this every day anyway. Most of you already do this when you go to a job. You have to make decisions. If you have kids, you have to make decisions on, how to handle different situations with your kids. And if you have kids, you all know situations out of the ordinary pop up all the time, and you have to make that decision like this. And you can make that decision for yourself, but you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing sometimes to not eat lunch, or sometimes to eat dinner late, or you have to be able to, change your plans around to accommodate you, because in the end, you're gonna win. If you're willing to sacrifice for what you want, don't worry about what everybody else wants. Don't worry about what Joe or Kim or Frank or anybody else says about what you're doing. You do you. Sacrifice for what you want. Don't worry about what your friends want, what your family wants. It's about what you want. Because when you sacrifice for what you want, it's going to better your mental health. It's going to better your life. It's going to better your family. It's going to better your outcome by 10 times. Like, it's going to be better for you. It's definitely going to be better for you. So don't be afraid to sacrifice for what you want. All right, tip number 3, and this may be the most important tip, and it may be a little bit off from what you're thinking, but tip number 3 is turn your camera on. Turn your camera on. YouTube is such a huge platform, and there are so many people out there that are willing to listen to you and respond to you and to help you. And not just that, most people, they say, well, my life is boring. I have nothing to talk about. I don't do anything exciting. It doesn't matter. There's people out there exactly like you. Your life is your story. Your life is your story. People want to hear about your life and the things you've gone through, because believe it or not, you've probably gone through things in your life that they're going through right now, or maybe haven't gone through yet, but they want to hear how you push through and how you persevered through those problems, because maybe something that you already went through would help them, or maybe just talking about it would help you. And people can respond and say, hey, you know what? I went through this same ordeal, 3 years ago, and this is what I did to help me. And they can help. You can build a great audience. You can build great friendships. And not only that, just talking to the camera and uploading your video. You don't need expensive equipment. You can do this from your phone. I'm doing this from my phone right now. And you can do it from your phone. You can upload it to YouTube, which is free. You can start getting views. You can get monetized. And next thing you know, you have an additional stream of income. And that additional stream of income might start off small. It might be $200, and then it'll be $500, then it'll be $800, then it'll be $1,000. And next thing you know, you're bringing in an additional $4,000 or $5,000 a month just by turning on the camera. Just turn on the camera, talk to the camera like it's your friend. Because when I sit down and I talk to a camera, I don't think about that I'm only talking to 2 people or 5 people. When I talk to the camera, I'm outreaching to thousands and hundred thousands of people that potentially may watch this video, and the tips and advice and the things that I talk about and things that I give, even if it only helps one person, if it just helps one person, I feel like I've done my job. YouTube is huge. You can build a whole new community. Don't worry about what everybody else says or what everybody else does. Like I said in tip 2, just do you. Turn the camera on. It can be a life changer. Life changer. Don't worry about the audio. Don't worry about all of that. Yes, that stuff helps down the line, but once you start making that additional revenue, you can do things. I bought a set of two mics, Bluetooth mics that are like $20. I'm not using them right now because I am actually talking to you sitting on a paint bucket in an empty house that you see behind me. This is one of my projects. Like I told you, I quit the steel mill and I started my own business. Well, my 3rd year in business, I made my first $1 million. I did really good up until COVID. Everything ran down. It was bad. The transportation industry was set back really far. It was hard for me to get materials, and I ran through. So basically what I'm going through now is I'm holding myself accountable by doing these videos, because you guys are going to be following my journey, and I'm going to be following you, and I'm going to be following your journey. All you have to do is turn the mic on. So this is a project I'm working on. And so let me tell you, So the reason that I'm shooting the video in this house, because I had a friend of mine, he kept telling me the same thing, just turn the camera on, turn the camera on. And I'm like, dude, I don't have time. Like, I run 2 businesses, I have a family, my kid plays sports. I'm busy all the time. And I'm gonna tell you what this friend told me. He said, Steve, don't you go to work every day? And I said, yeah. And he said, so you mean to tell me, he said, you do real estate and you refurbish houses. And he said, so you mean to tell me you don't have 10 minutes, 8 or 10 minutes to sit down each day and talk about the work that you're doing, or talk about how you got to where you are, or just to talk about anything that has to do with your job. He said, you mean to tell me you don't have 10 minutes every day? And I said, you know what? I said, dude, you're right. If I really wanted to do it, I could make that extra 8 or 10 minutes. And he said, let me ask you this. He said, didn't you get rear-ended a few months ago? And I said, yeah. He said, what if that was worse? He said, what if you were in the hospital, you were out of work for, 4 or 5 months? He said, how would that affect you financially? And I said, well, I said, I have people that work for me, so I could probably, still get the jobs done, but I wouldn't make anywhere near what I'm used to making. So if I was out of work, I said, yeah, it would definitely hurt me financially. And he said, well, you want to know what? He said, I got videos I made 5 years ago that are still making me money today. He said, isn't that crazy? And I said, damn, man. I said, it is kind of crazy. He said, Steve, turn the camera on. He said, start doing videos, turn the camera on. I do other things. I fish, I hunt, I skateboard. So I have a whole nother separate channel just skateboarding that's really taken off a lot. Because I use motivation and inspiration in skateboarding. That's on a whole nother channel. I mean, you can comment if you're interested in knowing the channel. I mean, you can go check it out. That's strictly skateboarding and just fun. This one is real life shit. So I wanted to share these 3 tips with y'all so that you can start taking the steps that you need to change your life and better yourself, better your family's life. Because let me tell you, the one thing that you can never get back in life, you lose money, you can get money back. Your house burns down, you can build another house. I'm not saying any of that stuff is easy, but you can get everything back. But the one time you can't get back is time. When I started this video, however long ago it was, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes ago, that's time that I'm never gonna get back. But you know what I'm doing? I'm using that time to share a message that's gonna help you change your life, and it's gonna help you get more time in your life. So the neighbor's car alarm is going off. I was making sure it wasn't mine. But if these tips help you and you like these videos, make sure you hit subscribe, because I got a ton of stuff to share. And I can definitely make 8 to 10 minutes a day to make videos. So I'm kind of changing the way that I do this channel. And it's going to be more of this and less of the older videos. I'm still leaving the older videos up because I still think some of them are good. It kind of gives you a little peek into my life and doing family stuff and fun stuff. But yeah, so this is going to be the bulk of what this channel is. So if you want to hear more, you want to see more of what I'm doing, you want more advice, if you just want somebody to talk to, if you want inspiration, you want motivation, that's me. Peace.